So the Malaysian budget just came out, and of course we'll be sharing our thoughts on how it will impact the stock market and which specific stocks we think will have the biggest positive and negative impact. So at a glance, here is some of the economic performance of the Madani government. So they're looking, or rather targets, right? They're looking for 2 to 3% inflation rate, very healthy 4.5 to 5.5% GDP growth. One very big thing on the agenda is the reduction of the fiscal deficit to a negative 3%. By the way, this particular budget was quite a big jump, right, in terms of the spending. Of course, you have other green initiatives, and one very interesting thing is the GNI per capita, which is 77.2 thousand ringgit. If you convert it into US dollars, is something like what, 18,000 US dollars.
Yeah. Correct. And also they will be spending quite a bit of investment over here. So they will be spending to public development, government link obviously, and public-private companies or partnerships will be the least one. And then obviously the sectors that they will be spending a lot will be economic, social, and the rest of the list over here. So the highest one, or at least they project that will get most of these budget spending, right? Obviously it's going to go to construction. There'll be a lot of construction road, your MRT3, your Johor to Singapore, your ECRL, all those kind of things. And also not to mention to the East Malaysia, which is Sabah and Sarawak, they will be getting a lot of money to improve their infrastructure and whatnot. But so far, you can see over here, they expect that 2026 or at least 2025 estimates will be about like 10% growth for construction, whereas for 2026 it's going to be about 6%. So this is the highest in terms of the growth that they forecasted. Whereas for service, this one is going to be roughly driven by the household spending because if you can recall, we got the MySara 100 ringgit. And then on top of that, they're going to be giving another 100 ringgit in the mid of February 2026 or so. Yeah, that will spur more spending in Malaysia. And also, we are going to be introducing more measures or policies to attract more visitors to visit Malaysia for 2026. So that will boost the
What's worrying and also encouraging at the same time is actually the manufacturing projections. Of course, it's declining, and as a country, we do rely quite a bit on manufacturing. But it's particularly honest from the government to think that, hey, manufacturing is not so good. So it's like a warning to us.
Exactly. So yeah, these are the few sectors, and just want to share also a little bit more is that they're going to be giving more liquidity, or not giving, but they're going to be providing more liquidity into the stock market. So we have over here the Gear Up initiative. They're going to be increasing the domestic investment up to 5 billion, so 5 to 30 billion, 25 billion this year. Yeah, PNB, KAP, all those. Yeah. And then also on top of that, PNB will be providing 10 billion units of ASB and also ASM units. So that could actually spur up even more liquidity into the domestic stock market. So these two is pretty good for the market in general. Okay, that is the appetizer. So let's dive deep into the main course, which is the stocks that will be affected.
Let's go.
Okay, the first one, it is the STR, Irahma, and also the Sara. So you can see over here, they're going to giving a lot of money, a lot of goodies for people around here. So we're not going to go deep into it, but all you need to know is that if you guys are in B40 or if you're in this category, you'll be getting a lot of like money coming to you soon. So the likely benefit of a few companies is the retail space. Obviously, it will be 99 Speedmart, Eco Shop, and also Versatile Creative Berhad.
So, affordable products.
Yes, exactly. So if you guys didn't know what Versatile Creative Berhad does, right, is they are running the FK Grocer. So it is also somewhat like affordable supermarket as compared to like other like Jaya Grocer, Village Grocer. So most likely they'll be benefiting from this MySara 100 ringgit and also other stimulus that is provided by the government. Second one, which is Visit Malaysia 2026. So they're going to be introducing a lot of incentive and tax exemption for people who is attracting foreigners to visit Malaysia next year. And on top of that, also for individual tax relief, right, we also be giving like 1,000 ringgit tax relief if we visit any of the exhibition.
Interesting.
Just for us only. Yeah. So they are really trying to encourage
So even
more
for
people.
locals.
Yeah, even for locals and also for foreigners. Yeah. So obviously the tourism stop that we think that will likely benefit, number one is Oriental Kopi. I think this is a very standard one. When there is like foreigners who come, they will try out like Malaysian cuisine, and Oriental Kopi is one of them. Another one is Sea Mobility. So this one is related to bus operator. So if let's say there's more people coming from Singapore to Malaysia, right, then most likely it will generate more revenue for Sea Mobility. Okay, the third one, now we're going to go to the bad side of things. So the first one, it is tobacco and also alcohol. Obviously, the sin stocks will be affected. Like every single budget also, they'll be increasing these excise duties for these two sin products. So the stocks will be affected, definitely because...
But they're already doing bad before this announcement, so...
Yeah, exactly. So, and they're going to be even more worse because of all of this like increase in costs. Okay, the second bad thing, it is the carbon tax for iron, steel, and also energy sector. So they want to be more green, and the companies will be affected because of the hike in costs. Will be Mas Steel, which is Malaysia Steelworks, Hibiscus, and also Southern Steel. Obviously, we didn't really talk more of the companies. There will be actually more names over here, but we just select the three only lah. The good thing about steel is that there is some sort of like tiny benefit because of this new roadmap that is introduced by the government. So they are trying to restrict more competition, or they're trying to reduce more overcapacity like in the industry, and also they're gonna be they're not gonna be giving more new license to new people. So at least it kind of like curb the supply overproduction issue that's happening in Malaysia. Okay, the fifth one, Petronas, they will be giving less dividend to the government. So previously, right, you can see over here, I think the most we gave was about 54 billion in 2019. But right now, they say they only want to get 20 billion from Petronas. So this means Petronas will be having more money to actually deploy for capex, and most likely they have money to like give to upstream players. So companies like LFG, Keyfield, and also Dayang, also probably they will be getting more contracts. Probably, assuming let's say Petronas decided to spend more in terms of the upstream activity. Okay, the sixth one, this one is not, this is very obviously, we have been talking about this for many times already.
This is just standard.
Yeah, the standard one, the LSS5, LSS6, and also the CREST initiative policy, everything is going to spur the renewable energy, particularly the solar companies. So the solar EPCC companies, SolarVest, Pekat, and also Samaiden. But the thing that you need to watch out for is the solar panel prices. So far, the US side, their solar panel prices is on the rise, whereas for China, it is kind of like muted. But if let's say there is an anti-involution going on, right, where they start to curb the overcapacity for solar companies, so that will actually increase the prices for solar panel, and it will hurt the solar EPCC because one of the main cost of production is buying solar panel from them. So if let's say the solar panel prices go up, their costs also will go up, which means their margins will be affected. So this is something for you guys to watch out for. Okay, the seventh one, Sarawak and Sabah, both of them, they will be getting a lot of money. So the development funds will be rising to 6.9 billion for Sabah and also 6 billion for Sarawak. And also they'll be getting a special grant for both of these states, which is going to double up to 600 million from 300 million in 2023. This is all just to like spur their economy, infrastructure, or maybe even domestic business activity, all those kind of things.
I think this is more of a political move, right?
Yeah, it could be, to buy like the votes or something like that.
Because the jump from the previous year was very big.
Exactly. So a few companies that we think will benefit from this are CMSB. SCIB also is one of them, but recently they sold one of their business to YTL Corporation, which is, I think, related to the cement kind of like thing, concrete business. And then Protesco also will be, benefited because
partially they have very limited scope in East Malaysia, but it's still going to be somewhat benefited.
Yeah, because of road maintenance over there, and also which recently got some contracts in Sarawak. So, and also there's a few more companies that we didn't mention over here that will benefit from this Sabah and Sarawak Development Fund. The eighth one, poultry. So this is a good thing for companies that want to expand their automation for closed house chicken rearing system. So there will be a tax exemption for this, and the companies that will be benefiting from this because there will be a reduction in terms of tax expenses. It will be Leong Hub and also CAB Cakaran Corporation per hub. And you also can see the share price for CAB, it is already going up quite steadily. The reason why they're going up is because they recently just acquired another big subsidiary which is related to the animal feed. So that can actually control some of sort of the cost for them in terms of their cost of goods sold, and it will improve their profit margins in the future. Okay, the ninth one, tech. This one also is the same thing. GLCs, governments, they are still spending a lot of money into this semiconductor ecosystem. They're also going to be giving them loans for high value added products like R&D for Malaysia firms in the E&E system. And then there's also more things. They want to hire more high skill talent, strengthen the infrastructure. Yeah, it's a repeat again. So the stocks that will be affected will be CloudPoint and also Vitrox in this case. So CloudPoint will be related to the AI, enterprise software solutions. Vitrox is related to the AT. Okay, the 10th one is going to be water. So, our piping is already very old, so it needs some sort of like replacement, and they're going to be giving some money over the next 5 years for water treatment and also to replace the aging water pipes across these few states over here: Johor, Melaka, Negeri Sembilan, Kelantan, Pahang, and Selangor. So the suspects who will be benefited will be Telework, because also they do those kind of replacing for water pipes, and also Rainhill Utilities, which also does water treatment in Johor. Okay, a bonus is not really covered in the budget 2026, but then they did say that there will be no excise duty for CBUs for electric vehicles, and it will end in January 2026. So what this means is that your Tesla, your BYD, or your Xpeng, all those that is imported elsewhere, it's going to increase in price. So the likely companies that will be benefiting will be Balto for a certain extent. Yeah, right now it has been like very down for the longest time already, and recently they did cut some of their prices for their Mazda products. So it is going to be, I would say it will be on par with the China prices if let's say the no more holiday tax start to implement in 2026. MPMR also is going to be, getting more market share because they sell Perodua and also some sort of Proton also. Betamax, this one they focus more on assembling those infotainment system into Perodua. They also have contracts with Proton, so this also will benefit them. Okay, so those are the few stocks that we have talked about. And the final thoughts over here about the buy budget 2026 is that there's less development fund, but it's more money is going towards the people.
So I think it's a politics-oriented budget, which I think is actually important for the economy, because if Anwar can maintain continuity in power, that's when you can see a lot more trust, foreign trust, which will affect the stock market, right? Malaysia is affected by foreigners.
Exactly. However, there is a double-edged sword over here because they are kind of like trading the long-term growth potential for short-term fiscal consolidation. So this is what the article said, is that the government development expenditure as a share of GDP has been on a long-term declining trend, and it could, weigh on the future productivity gains and ultimately on economic growth potential. And also, on top of that, they are spending like flat in terms of education, so that is not really improving much in terms of whatever in education initiative that they are going to be introducing in the near future. But hopefully more private sectors will be pouring money into this to help out the government a little bit. And last but not least is, what is our rating for this budget 2026?
6.5.
6.5.
I mean, if you talk about the stock market, right, there's no big negative impact. It's like mildly positive.
But
it's great as far as politics, especially Sabah and Sarawak, the religious allocations and plus the Maisara stuff. So it is actually within expectation. In fact, if I were Anwar, this is probably what I would do.
For me, it's going to be like a 7 or 7.5. It's like a B+. I'll say it's like pretty decent, especially, he's kind of like
no big complaints, basically, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But nothing wow
to shout about. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, those are our final thoughts about budget 2026. And just to share with you guys, we have a big discount for you for FIRL Pro, which is going to be ending on the 20th of October, which is 7 days or 6 days from today. FIRL Pro is going to be at a 30% discount. So if you want to get that 30% discount code, it's going to be in the description and comments. So what is FIRL Pro all about is where we share our write-ups, analysis on certain companies that we find interesting, and we do it in a form of write-up. So these write-ups, you only take like 10 to 15 minutes to understand every single thing that you need to know about the company, whether is it their business model, their numbers, their risk, their prospect management, all of these things is inside over there. And on top of that, we also share with you guys some information that is exclusively, given to us for access only, because we meet like CEOs, probably like a one-on-one, or maybe industry insider, or maybe even some expertise which is inside this company or industry. And we have this information because we have our research team who gave us all of these kind of like special access, and it might not be publicly available to you. So all of these insights is also shared inside. And just to share, this is some of the returns that we have for the Malaysia is growing, global boring also is growing. And
we brought a lot of these companies that we do write-ups on into like a watch list for people to track and see the progress.
Exactly. And just to share with you guys also, we added a few more stocks into this watch list.
Recently?
So, recently. Still adding some more. So if you're interested to find out what are the names, please hop on to FIRL Pro and you can get a 30% off. And if you're a dividend lover, make sure to check out the FIRL Pro, the boring portfolio, because the dividend yield right now is very high. It's about 9%. It's higher than EPS 6.3% or 6.4%. And if you want to see how we do our write-up, you want to get a taste, we have this one sample write-up, which is about KGB, where we initiated on the 21st of October 2022, and since then it has gone up like 4x already. And not only just KGB, we also have as a sample report for you, and everything is for free. If you want to check it out, it's going to be in the free sample. The links also will be in the description and comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more of this video. See you guys next week.